Jon Dorenbos has got a deck of cards, and he's on his knees on the Rich Eisen show, Callaway Corner, trying to flip cards into the hole.
This is amazing.
You're coming close, John. As soon as I said that.
That's what we do, baby.
Attaboy. Keep rolling them in. Jon Dorenbos, America's Got Talent.
He made it!
Just nailed it. America's Got Talent, the championship, premieres January 7th on NBC. Okay, be quiet. Jon Dorenbos for birdie, flipping cards into holes. Oh, it seemed close. All right, that's next here on the Rich Eisen Show.
I mean, just straight.
Welcome back, Jon Dorenbos. How are you?
Man, I'm so excited to be here. I'm a fan.
Right back at you.
And I told you this the first time I met you. You have one of the greatest logos ever.
Because it's a silky, smooth running
awesome.
style.
So, anyways,
good to see you. So you have a deck of cards in your hand.
Here, I'm gonna make this super easy. Just say the word stop.
Stop.
Okay. Whatever this card is, you got it.
Yeah,
we can
we
all
do.
see it.
Yeah, we can.
It doesn't matter if I see it. King of clubs. I'm just gonna rip off the corner. Watch.
Okay.
You hold the card.
I shall hold the card.
I got the corner. Watch the corner.
Okay.
That's when the corner goes. Underneath the checks mix, there's what do you see there? A box?
I see a box.
Yeah. Move the checks mix, and then look, shake the box. Is there something inside the box?
There is something inside the box.
Open the box. There's a corner to one card. Check it out.
Come on now.
That corner fits perfect. Now hold on, but now you know what to expect. So watch this.
It does
Here,
fit perfect.
all you got to do is this. Are you ready? Pull one out. Pull a different card out. Doesn't matter. And then hold it in front of the camera. And then I want you to take it and actually rip that card in half. Hamburger or hot dog style, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then put the pieces on top and rip those in half again. Yeah. Oh, this is perfect. You are killing. So what do we got here? We got a 10 of hearts.
Yes, we do.
Hold the corner. I'm gonna take these pieces and fold these pieces up. So we got 3 pieces of a 10 of hearts. And all you gotta do is this. Let me see your hand. That's when the pieces disappear. Now,
That's insane.
Earlier we had inside the checks mix.
Come on now.
Open the checks mix and dump them out on your desk. I know it's gonna make a mess, but dump them out on your desk. Yeah, dump them all out. Not only are there 3 pieces of a card inside, but hold on, that card is back in one. That card's back in one, baby. It's missing one corner. You ripped a corner. It fits perfect. What card you pick? 10 of hearts, baby. 2 for 2. All right, let's go.
I mean, that is insane.
And I did that
The bag was unopened.
I mean, it was,
Look at Brock.
I'm done.
Careful.
I'm done.
I'm a
way.
chubby guy that learned that when you want to eat, just have it on his desk. And then you're
It's
fat.
insane.
Jon Dorenbos, everybody.
And you have checks mix.
10 of hearts.
That's amazing.
King of clubs. Oh my gosh. And a jack of all trades.
And I get
And
to
checks
eat.
mix. Fantastic. No, you joined it. You joined it. Jon Dorenbos when we come back. That is amazing.
Gonna be a good day.
All right, welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. And we just got an amazing first close-up glimpse of this man's magic, literally and figuratively. America's Got Talent, the championship, premieres again January 7th on NBC, airs Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Part of that program. And back on this program, Jon Dorenbos. Good to see you,
My
Jon.
man, again, thank you for having me. Big
bet.
fan. Have
No,
been a big fan
come
for
on,
a long time.
right back at you.
This is like the first thing
So,
I got to do.
Before we get into, take a nice little swig of the Rich Eisen Show mug. So before we get into the current situation, your heart, I want to get into this here.
Yeah.
So you've been living with a problem in your heart all the way up until you got traded from the Eagles to the Saints. Walk me through.
Yeah, so I never
Jon.
knew. Yeah, I never knew I had a congenital heart defect. And to put layman's terms, you have a heart and you have a vein that leaves the heart, and that vein's called an aorta, and it goes up and around and down.
Yeah.
And when the blood leaves the heart, a door opens and closes so that the blood can leave and not fall back in.
Yeah.
That door for most people is 3 leaflets, right? Most people have 3 little doors that close. I was born with 2, and so over time, my door would like fall into itself. So picture French doors that never seal and never shut. So air goes in and out of your house.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem. So my blood would leave the heart, but almost 60% of it would fall back into the heart, right? So I was losing a lot of blood, and multiple things happened there. One, the heart's a muscle. And so if your brain is the boss and your heart is the employee, the brain wants, let's say, 5-6 quarts of blood a minute, 5.5 quarts of blood a minute, I believe. Well, your heart can calculate that. So obviously a lot of my blood was going back into my heart. So the heart is like, okay, I need to pump harder because only 40% is leaving. So it calculates to where it gets the brain 5 quarts of blood. So it's a muscle. So now my resting heart rate was always really, really high. And I just thought that was normal. Well, now it's a muscle, so now it's working too hard. Now it grows. So, excuse me, my heart got way too big. And like a pair of sweatpants, if you pull the waist, you lose the elasticity.
Of course.
Snap back.
So when did you find out that you had this issue? And
Yeah, so I got traded in New Orleans. And for whatever reason, I had heard people say the term heart murmur, but I didn't know what it meant. Right, so-and-so has a heart murmur, or you read about it. So a heart murmur is basically blood leaking somewhere it shouldn't. And when you put a stethoscope on your back, it's a drum. It's the heart. It's like, it's a drum. Well, if you hear a squish sound, like whoosh, that whoosh is the leaking blood. And so for whatever reason, when I went into New Orleans and had my physical, it was prevalent at that time. And it literally, I got lucky. And the doctor was like, hey, I hear a murmur, and it's in kind of a unique place. We're going to send you down to the hospital and do further testing. All right, let's go. I didn't think anything of it, but that's when I found out.
and then they told you what?
So I go down to the hospital. I do an echocardiogram and some other stuff, and the cardiologist and surgeon said, "All right, yeah, go back. We'll get your results ASAP." And I was getting ready for practice, and my phone rang, and it was a New Orleans area code, so I figured it was the hospital, right? Nobody else had my number out there, so I answered it, and the surgeon and cardiologist said, "Hey, look, I don't know how to say this, so are you sitting down?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And you're still oblivious, right? I'm going to practice, right? You're never playing football ever again. And I literally just went, "Wait, what?" Like I just signed a 3-year extension.
You're going to practice.
I'm going to practice. And you're going to be in emergency open heart surgery now. Wait, what? Go to the trainer's room, and we got all the details. We're going to bring you back for further testing. You're okay, but no caffeine, no running, no lifting anything over 5 pounds. Don't raise your voice. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Get
Don't,
out of here.
Yeah. So basically sit there and keep your heart rate down. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And then you get the information, and you go from there.
So what kept you calm? Anything keep you calm?
Uncertainty, I guess. All right, if you say be calm, then I guess that's what I'm going to do, because this is your lane,
Right.
So this guy knows what he's talking about. And then all of a sudden, I went up to Sean Payton's office, Coach Payton is unbelievable. And my wife had just went from New Orleans back to Philly to coordinate the move,
Yep.
right? And I said, hey, do I call my wife, or what do I do? Or do I wait? And he goes, let's call her. And we call her.
So Sean Payton suggested,
Yeah,
let's call
your wife, tell her what we know, and let's get her back here to New Orleans, and let's figure this out. I said, cool, I'm down. And believe it or not, I remember what Coach Reed said. And I got to play for Coach Reed for a long time. Still talk to him. Still look up to him. I'm thankful for every second I got to spend with him. And I remember we lost a game, and he said, he was talking to somebody else, but he said, hey, if the captain keeps his cool, the ship keeps his cool. If the captain loses his cool, the ship loses their cool. Keep your cool. And I was like, okay, hey, babe, our friends and family, nobody knows what's going on but us. If we keep our cool, the ship keeps their cool. If we lose our cool, our ship's going to lose their cool. So guess what? You and I, we're keeping our cool, and we ain't dying. We're going to live. We're going to tackle this thing just like we would anything else, and we're going to come out the other side, and let's do this.
And that's what happened.
That's what happened.
And now, as Andy Reid would say, the time's yours.
Yeah. Time's yours.
Time's yours.
Yeah, time's yours.
Well, thank God, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean
that you got traded. Do you think that the
Yeah.
trade? Do you sit here, Jon Dorenbos, and think that trade saved your life? Do you
absolutely.
Think
I mean, absolutely. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what you practice. But there's a certain kind of romantic sign of life to say that I was traded to New Orleans to be saved by a saint, and that's what happened. And so I never wanted a dog.
Okay.
I love dogs. I don't want one. You open the door, they run. I just don't want a dog.
Okay.
So my wife wants one every day. Can we get a dog? Can we get a dog? I'm like, nah, yeah. So sure enough, I'm on 21 pills, and I'm just sitting there staring at a wall, right, post-surgery. And she puts a laptop on me, and she says, hey, we should get a dog. And it's a golden doodle, right? It's the cutest dog I've ever seen. I said, oh my God, I want that dog. And I'm on 21 pills, right?
Sure.
And she goes, you want a dog? And I go, no, I don't want a dog. I want that dog right there, and I want to pet him on the head. And she's like, okay. So the next day, this guy showed up, and we got the coolest dog ever. And I said, we'll get this dog, but it's going to be a reminder of how happy you are to be alive. So as long as we can name him Saint, then we're going to get him. And so sure enough, our dog's name is Saint.
Saint.
It's cool.
Come on.
Great dog name, man.
It is a great dog name, and obviously an incredible story as to how the dog got his name, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's amazing. And did the Eagles? Is it true the Eagles gave you a Super Bowl ring? Did that happen?
Yeah, really cool. You know, Jeff and I, when I first signed with Philly, I don't even know if Jeff literally realizes this, but in Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, it's really hot. And so me and the punter and kicker, we would always try and find reasons to go back inside to get in the air conditioner during practice because we weren't doing nothing.
Right.
So I had to go to the bathroom a lot during training camp, right? Because I'd get and go to the air conditioner,
Sure.
right? Maybe sneak a chicken finger. So I went in there and there's Jeff Lurie. So now I got to act like I was supposed to go back there for something, right? So I go in the equipment room and now I'm looking for something. Like I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I'm like, yeah, Jeff, I just got to try and find something here. So then him and I just start talking. And I remember telling him, hey, unless the Super Bowl got brought up in coaching, and I was like, yeah, I never want to be a coach, but I think the only way I'll get a ring is as a player because, that's I really don't want to coach. So sure enough, years and years go by, and this whole thing goes down. And Donnie Jones went to Doug Peterson and said, hey, we're taking Dorenbos. And Doug said, heck yeah, we are. And Jeff said, yeah, we are. So they called me and said, hey, if we go, Now, I was on so many pills. I didn't watch football that year. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. It's just I was literally in a fog. And the first game I watched was the NFC Championship.
So and it was at the beginning of that playing season where you found out about where you had your heart surgery, correct?
Yep.
All right. And so you had not seen anything of the Eagles season?
I hadn't seen anything except this white wall in front of me, because I would just stare at it, right, for months, because you're on all these meds. Mm-hmm. And the irony is, we watch it, and my wife goes, John, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. And I said, of course they are. After the Super Bowl, they signed me. And I played in 162 straight games for the franchise record for most consecutive games ever played.
Right.
And then they got rid of me, and now they're going back. I'm like, of course they're going to the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't they? The key was to get rid of me. And that was the joke. But then sure enough, Jeff called and said, hey, man, you were part of this organization and the culture, and you're not going to get a ring. You'll get a player's ring, just like everybody else. And
what'd that mean to you?
You know what? I never thought I'd get one unless I played. And Jeff reminded me of that conversation. And I'm going to get choked up. And he said, you didn't play, but you didn't coach either. But you deserve this. And he gave me a hug, and he said, for the 12 years, 11 years that you spent here and, spending time with his family, and just, he said, you showed up every day, hurt, sick, and injured, and you're a true pro. And so this ring here is, the Super Bowl for you was life. And I hope you look at this ring and reflect back on what you did in your career. And I hope you take what you learned and what you did and apply it to other aspects of your life. And just look at this and remember how hard it is to have success and how great it is. So keep working hard. And I just was like, man, I'm not going to say no.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see your eyes are glistening up a little bit, Jon Dorenbos, right now. It's pretty cool. And so you were part of the parade as well? Did you do that?
Yeah, and there was a lot of there was debate, right? There was a lot of people saying, "Oh, John doesn't deserve one. He was traded." Well, you get those people, right? Which is fine because I get that. Because any player gets traded, you're done. And
your teammates and the organization,
and I get that.
Their arms. I mean, so.
But what's cool for me to look back on, like my life story, is, sometimes it doesn't matter how you get there, right? And for me, it was a reminder that if you just show up every day, you just show up. And you're on time and you're ready, you'll be amazed at what happens. And you'll never know what happens. But you're never going to know unless you show up. And that's been my motto. Just show up every day. And you know what? The things that you want, the energies that you throw out there, the things that you want to aspire in life, both materialistically, spiritually, energy-wise, happiness, just tell yourself, pick the narrative that you want to have happen and treat people right along the way. And guess what? It might happen to you in a way that you never saw coming. And that's what that ring did.
Well, Jon Dorenbos here on the Rich Eisen Show. If I'm not mistaken, Chris Brockman, your first magic trick, however, was
I know where this is going.
Long snapping when you really hadn't had much long snapping experience in trying to pull off that trick, correct, John?
Pretty good one.
Would you care to retell that story right here?
All right, so here's the deal. I thought I was a pretty good high school player, right? Led the league in tackles. Didn't even make all league, right? Oh, come on, dude. I was devastated. So, all right, it's time to go to a junior college, and it's baseball or football. And be honest with you, all I wanted to do is run out of a tunnel in front of 100,000 people. I want to be a rock star, but I can't sing, can't dance, and I can't play an instrument, right? But I still want to go out of the tunnel and feel it.
Why not?
So football was the key. Now, Cerritos, Long Beach, because I grew up in Garden Grove here, and so there's a lot of #1 JC conference in America. Well, then there's a school called Golden West Junior College, and they were 0-20. I had a buddy that played there, and this is exactly what I said to myself. If I can't play there, I can't play anywhere. So I went to where I knew I was going to play. And I knew I'd be on the field, and I'd be on the field a lot. Because I knew that if I wanted to go to a college, you can't get a scholarship sitting on the bench, right? So sure enough, I go play. I do really well. I'm academically qualified, so I could transfer out as a true freshman. But nothing. So I was like, what the heck? So, oh, man, Tim Thurman. Yeah, 6'6" long snapper. That's pretty good. Better than I ever was. So I took some of his film, and I just put it on my highlight tape. And back then, no internet, no HD. So as long as we're all white dudes, like who can tell the difference, right? So then Nick Heinley, I was number 47, he was number 48. And this dude, to this day, I avoided hitting him every time in practice. I was the guy, and I was a good player, but I avoided hitting him, and I never once went head-to-head with him in practice, nor did I ever want to. He just knocked people out. So I was like, well, we rotated. I'll just take some of his big hits, and I'll just throw them on there too. So it's like me, like finesse open field, making smart plays, covering slot receivers as a backer. It's Nick knocking people out.
Look at you.
And then it's this 6'6" long snapper that's just throwing darts. I mean, honestly, if you saw this tape, I was the greatest player in the history of college football, ever. It's unbelievable. And it's JUCO footage, so there's only like one camera, right?
Yeah, sure.
So who's the wiser? And I remember too, I got to find this tape. I didn't have all the digital stuff, so like it was play pod records. And some of the footage, I actually shot with like the camera with the VHS tape, and I would put my finger and point on the screen. I would record the TV playing the VHS and just point to the guy that I was saying was me. Otherwise, how would you know, right? It's so bad. So anyways, I hadn't snapped since high school, and UTEP needed a snapper. I had a buddy play there. He vouched for me. He knew the other guys too, so he called me up. He's like, is Tim coming here or you? Paul Tessier, this is true. And I go, no, just get me in the door. I'll ball out, I promise. Just get me in the door. And it got me in the door, and I got a full ride. And back then, it was when teams were just coming out with a roster spot for a snapper. So I was kind of like the beginning of the era of that becoming its own position. Rock on, baby.
Now you got a Super Bowl ring,
Are you
Jon
kidding me?
Dorenbos.
2 Pro Bowls and a Super Bowl ring. Are you kidding me? For a position I never should have played.
Oh my gosh.
And here I am on your show now. This is
America's
awesome.
Got Talent, the championship, premieres January 7th on NBC, airs Mondays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. How's your life changed since being on AGT, man?
Big time. You know, it's I can relate this way. A buddy of mine was on an elevator with Joe Montana and Roger Staubach, right? And he's a real estate guy, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this guy gets in the elevator and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're Joe Montana. You're the greatest football player, quarterback ever. Oh my gosh, you're Roger Staubach. You're the greatest real estate guru ever." So the guy gets off the elevator, and I guess Montana was like, "So, you know, how did that feel?" That he kind of, or my buddy was like, "I mean, how did that feel?" And Raj goes, "Perfect, because when I was done playing, I was done. I guess my rebranding worked, because now I'm a real estate guy." And so for me, my football career's over, and it was about rebranding and getting a name and a talent somewhere else and starting a new life, right, for my mind. And that show worked, and now people, I book theaters and people show up, which is awesome. You know, I'm on your show, and it's cool. It's cool to be able to show the world what my interpretation of magic is, that it can be fun and it can just be cool. And so,
Yeah. So what is your I mean, you did an incredible trick that we're going to put on our app and all of our social media feeds with that I know for years you in locker rooms people were like, do this, do that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers' reaction at a Pro Bowl to you doing something in a locker room is just still priceless to watch.
Awesome.
So what do you get out of it, and what is your interpretation of it?
I think it's finding who you are, right? I'm a huge David Copperfield fan, and I love him, but the world doesn't need a David Copperfield. They don't need another one. David Blank, Chris Angel, all these guys. And all of a sudden I did AGT, and I found out that, you know what? I like inspiring. I like telling my story.
Yeah.
And so I kind of gear the magic and the story to that. So my live show that we tour with is basically my life story, and it's literally the magic I learned along the way that helped me get through a time in my life to find happiness. And I try and make it as rock star and upbeat as possible. I hit on real issues. And, you know, a simple trick is you sign a card and you tear it up piece by piece. Well, that can be symbolic in so many different ways. And you know, Lance Burton was a famous magician in Vegas that said the hardest thing to do is to get people to care. You know, you do a dove act and what's the golf clap because are they emotionally tied to the act, right? But when they get tied to it, man. And I remember I was doing a corporate speaking gig in 2004 in Corpus Christi, Texas, 10,000 people at the American Bank Center, whatever it is. And the stagehand goes, "Bet you $10 you can't get a standing ovation making a coin disappear." And I said, "It's on, baby." And that's when I realized all I got to do is get these people to care about this coin.
Right.
And sure enough, I built it up. I made the coin disappear, and the place went nuts. And that's when I realized that just tie your emotion to it, be vulnerable, be real, right? And then the magic will take care of itself, and it'll tie everything together perfectly. So, and then I joined Ellen, which was amazing, and her crew, and we believe in the same thing, man. Just be kind and have fun and do your thing and show the world who you are. And with that comes great responsibility. So be careful what you say. I know I keep rambling here, but A Star is Born.
Go ahead.
A Star is Born. Amazing movie. But there's a line it's just like, man, there's like one-liners in like Gladiator, Star is Born that just hits you. And it's when Bradley Cooper says, "Hey, you got a voice, but they're only going to listen for so long. So you better be careful on what you say and how you want to say it, because that's all that matters. A ton of people can sing, but it's what you have to say." Well, the same thing is on your show, and as a magician, as a speaker, as a person in life, be careful what you say, because those words are going to affect people, and those words are going to be what your reality becomes. And so I believe in that.
No, it's contagious, man. Just sitting next to you, I feel
Can I get that back in an audio clip? Because I think I need to write down
That
what
was
I just
amazing.
said.
Yeah, that was
yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
Wow.
We'll clip that off.
We'll clip that.
I don't mean to sound like that guy, but like
You can sound like
I've been
that
trying to
guy.
put that into words for a
Yeah.
long time, and
You
that's
nailed
just
it.
You
yeah.
nailed it.
You stuck the landing.
Man.
10 out of 10. And
Felt good.
You know what? Do you think your old teammates in Philly are going to run it back right now? It sure looks like it.
Man, I'll tell you what. I mean, Philly's lucky to have both Carson and Foles. You know, I mean, those are I got to play with both. I
Yeah.
love Doug Peterson. They still got Jason Peters in the locker room. He's a huge leader, and Darren Sproles, Malcolm.
I love the center. I love Kelsey.
Oh, Jason Kelsey's unbelievable. That dude's one of the greatest human beings of
Chris
all time.
Long is,
Awesome.
Jenkins, there's some real human beings.
Chris is cool, man, and super nice. Malcolm and
Fletcher.
Fletcher. I mean, I got to play with a lot of cool people, man.
You did?
But going back to it, I think a huge, just strictly tactical, right? Let's just talk football.
You want to do X's and O's, John? I'm all for it. Let's do it.
I think some of the times that teams have a problem is your starter and your backup are so different athletically and scheme wise. So if one goes down, you're throwing in a whole new world,
Sure,
right?
right.
And then all of a sudden the talent shifts. So hey, we got to move you here, you go here. When this guy's in, you go here. And it's like everybody's out of position, right? Well, when Nick or Carson go down or they switch, it's the same game. So your O linemen are basically blocking for the same guy. You can argue Carson's a little bit faster, but that's irrelevant. They're both tall, big. They're both students of the game. They're both throwing quarterbacks. And so I think just that alone, from a chemistry standpoint,
Right.
And the receivers that are running, it's the same look, right? They got a real tall, big guy back there, right? And it's just the same look. So I think all that plays a huge, huge deal in success.
It does seem that Foles, at least this year for sure, has had a better command of anybody outside the numbers than Carson did before he got hurt.
I mean,
Or,
you're the
again,
Super Bowl MVP, right?
I know. By the way, what you just said about how it helps the Eagles to have similar style as well as physical people at quarterback, that's what I think has made what the Ravens did this year so impressive, to go from Flacco to Lamar Jackson. Obviously they had some plays for Lamar all built in, and then for that bye week, they've totally recast themselves.
Yeah.
Really
And
has
some
been
people
something.
can do it and some people struggle.
And now here come the Saints too, the 1 seed. I'm not going to put you in that position.
You know what?
If they do face each other.
Man, and
Jon
how cool would that
Dorenbos.
have been to play in that game?
That'll be your greatest magic trick, is to not choose a side on that.
Well, I guess I'm a winner in either case.
Look at you. You damn straight.
It's not if it's the glass half full, half empty. No, Rich, I'm just happy to have a glass. You know what I mean?
Now that's what we call a walk-off. Jon Dorenbos, I don't know how often you're here in Los Angeles, but you have a home here anytime you damn well please.
My man.
Seriously.
Thanks.
I mean, we all love you.
No, thank
we
you.
all
guys.
love when you come by
Amazing.
here, and again, you're inspirational. Your story, you look great.
Thanks, man.
You really do, and you're at the top of your game, brother.
Thanks. And watch America's Got Talent, the champions. I'm an honor to be one of the top 50 acts in the world, and let's rock and roll, man. So I appreciate
Monday
it.
at 8 Eastern Time, 7 Central on NBC. Good to see you, Jon
My man,
Dorenbos.
thank you.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.